Yeah, man. We back with another one. Okay. First and foremost, man, glory to God for this opportunity once again to give you guys a glimpse in my life and what I got going on. We doing it again, a reboot. We're gonna do a hard 75, road to 10%. I got to 15%. I'm going to a new gym. There's so much to catch you back up on. If you've been tuning in, you've been seeing the other gyms I've been going to. And so I got a new home gym that I've been going to for a few months now. I'm doing recomposition. And for those who don't know what that is, recomposition is essentially where you're focusing on your overall weight and you're just manipulating the body fat percentage. You want to be able to decrease the amount of body fat while still being able to put on muscle. The conversation I want to have today, man, is what key component do you want to focus on in order to establish consistency, a stronger foundation? Previously before I talked about creating your own lane, but this one is really dedicated to the individual who's having a challenging time being able to stay committed. What I want you to take away from the car conversations is making that split decision. That's something that I've personally been really focusing on. We talk about having 24 hours in a day and understanding how to be able to maximize each and every second that we have without taking it for granted. Making a split decision comes from not overanalyzing, not overthinking. When you have a set goal or a particular task in hand that you want to focus on, taking the time within whatever window you have to be able to make the most out of it. Not getting so caught up with the expectation that you haven't developed the consistent habit in order to execute towards it. It starts with the choice, and that choice, when you make that time for yourself, that's that split decision. And you just repeat that same process, and eventually it becomes a habit that you don't have to think about. For me, man, that's something I strive for because, like most men, we always have this unrealistic expectation where we would like to be at. Yet, we're battling with the decisions we make in order to get there. And then, your central nervous system constantly is rapidly firing, and then now you're overclouding, now you're overthinking, and it's like, damn, I just want to make sure I'm getting to it. When you are only competing with yourself and analyzing the version of yourself that you want to become, that constant battle, that conflict with the person in the mirror, that voice in your head, man, it can get loud. And it's like you got to train yourself in order to calm your nerves, to mute that noise in your head and focus on, this is where I'm at right now, this is what I want to do, and this is me doing it. It goes to what I was saying, body dysmorphia is a real thing. But when you're focusing on recomposition, it's challenging because your physique is the same. And as you're checking to make sure you're decreasing your body fat, you're constantly, damn it, is it losing? Is it not? And so, I'm flattered because, recently, I've been getting a lot of compliments in regards to size, in regards to my overall physique, putting on a lot of muscle, and that's cool. That's obviously the goal. I also know on the back end, my nutrition's been shit. I feel like it's not as up to par to where it needs to be at. And so it's just about, again, revamping, making sure that I stay consistent. And while I solely just look at the numbers, man, I don't really focus on too much the physique itself. Man lie, woman lie, numbers don't. So I'm going to use the data to really give credit to what it is that I need to do. And based upon that data, I then tweak my nutrition. Recomposition, man, it really is 100% nutrition. It's 100% nutrition. When you take the emotions out and you focus on what the data is saying, you get a clear picture. Okay, this is what I need to do. Because you might be thinking you're doing it right. The numbers might be saying you're doing it completely different. And if that's the case, you're going to be lying to yourself, man. You don't want to be doing that. You're going to be bullshit. You always want to look at your life in 3 pillars. Where you're currently at, where you're trying to get to, and then where you started. I use that metaphor a lot because whereas when I first started versus where I am today, it's nothing but change. I've dropped 20 pounds, 5 to 6% body fat, muscle mass, 103 is the highest. I know overall, man, I've been doing an amazing job from when I first started. So I just pulled up to the gym. Man, we finna get after it. My dogs, I'm gonna just say I appreciate for those tuning in. We gonna have fun. So let's get to it. So just starting up with my warm-up, it's typically around 15 minutes. Your warm-up is crucial because you don't want to skip this part. This is going to help with rehabilitation, injury prevention, and just getting centered. Because I'm focusing on a push day, I'm going to be on an incline. Every minute on a minute, I'm going to be gradually increasing by 2%. I'm at like a moderate speed walk. So you'll see this a lot. I actually pulled this from Indian culture where they'll hold a particular device and they're focusing on being able to stabilize. And this is great for the rotator cuff. A small progression of this reach test where you're trying to make sure that you touch both at the same time. And then my last one, I just perform all around the world, really just trying to open up the rotator cuffs. I got hurt a lot, I ain't gonna lie to you. So corrective exercise is something that I don't take lightly, just because I understand what an injury can do to you, especially when you've been having nothing but momentum. And at the top, stabilizing, just trying to push away from the body. And they do the same thing at the bottom for the traps. And a trick for external or internal rotation, top position, you're gonna hold it, and then you're gonna have it right across the scapula, and you just push it with the top hand away from the body for a deep stretch. Today's workout, I call it's a 43 rule. 4 different exercises will focus on incline, decline, and then 3 exercises where we're gonna be focused on roundness. This device right here, it's a 3-in-1. You can go incline, press straight forward, or decline. So I'm gonna be using this just to activate the muscles. So I just got 10. Get on the incline. The turn on decline, slight elevation at the bottom. So now I'm gonna come here, superset. It's a slight variation of an incline, and then we're gonna have the hammer strength dip machine. Day and day, right? All days to constantly get better, but just know that, each and every time you step into the gym, that 1% equivalent to growth. It just sometimes your energy level, your mentality, it dictates how you see it. Just understand that, you are doing what needs to be done. I remember when I first joined this gym a few months ago, I did 3 placement each side, and I was doing on the dips. I was doing it and I had, rows up. So it just shows growth, man. Just constantly testing myself and testing my boundaries within my capabilities without injuring myself or ego lifting. I'm just dropping gems. So with this particular device, it allows us to have a greater range of motion, which is dope. To take it to the next level, that way I can have a deeper stretch at the top position. I use pad. So naturally, our spine is neutral. Here is typically where we stop. Because of this added pad here, now I have a deeper stretch here, and I can really squeeze, emphasizing more muscle recruitment. On my chest days, I throw in a little bit of biceps just because my arms, the areas in which I really want to focus on it. By doing so, then biceps and forearms, they got to grow. So this is a beautiful piece of equipment right here. At that bottom position, focus on that decline, and then just trying to make sure we have our arms straight as possible. And so after, get done doing the wide decline chest flies, superset that with the lateral raise here. Full extension. And then I like to do lateral and front raises with it, get in a supinated position. Same thing, 10 or 12. This is my last time on each one. You know, I always say, man, 1 rep at a time. Just want to get better. You know, like, man, today's gonna go. What are you looking to do and what are you looking to gain from it? And this very moment, man, it's an opportunity for me to just let go of all my problems outside and focus on me. I really do enjoy the gym as a safe ground for me to be able to express myself as an outlet. It's a special place, man, because it's not too often, man, you can come in an environment where just everybody working. You know what I mean? Everybody got their own goal, task, their own problems they going through. You know what I'm saying? It's a free judgment zone and it's just supportive. Oh man, you know, 3 plates, that's good money for sure, man. That's respectable. It's the repetitive nature of always just reminding myself, even when we step on the in-body scan, man, it is not a defined outlet of who we are. It gives us clear information that we can use to tweak and modify. And it's about the duration of the journey. You don't go to a stoplight thinking you're gonna yield. When you go to a stoplight, you know, it's your time to really focus on adjusting, understanding the clear pathway before you go for a turn green. The analogy in which I'm using, man, is just a metaphor for saying, like, bro, when I stepped on the in-body scan and I saw that my muscle mass decreased, all that tells me is, you know, I gotta adjust my program and adjust my nutrition or tighten it up. When I come into the gym and I'm doing shit like this, you know, it's a reminder that, hey, it's getting to where I wanted to get to. You know what I'm saying? I'm very impressed with 3 plates, you know what I'm saying? On social media, you're gonna see a lot of individuals out there that's strong. Don't let that diminish or take away from what it is you got going on for yourself. Like, progress is progress, growth is growth. So everything that we do, you know, we talk about where we started at when we started our journey to right now. Everything is about, you know, repetition. Everything is about just momentum. So I'm thrilled with this for sure. I got triceps and some bicep curls to get right into it. And I want you to understand, like, there's no such thing as a perfect program. It's about correcting and adjusting based upon what your body composition is composed of. What works for me is not gonna work for the next individual and vice versa. So figuring out how your body responds to your training style is super important. We can utilize information that's out there to help us tweak and, you know, build muscle and strength in certain aspects that we might not have been familiar with before. I know that I wanna build my biceps up, so typically, I wouldn't tell people like, hey, on your chest day, hit the biceps. I wouldn't do that. But because I understand what I'm looking for and what's my goal, oh yeah, I know that my triceps is dominant and I know what I want to focus on. So that's why I always add it in there. Then we're gonna end it with some core. You're gonna have alternating knee ups and with the L raise. Boom, 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 and together. Last one. And I mean, shit, that's pretty much it. After this, head to the other gym, then head to crunch. Then I'm gonna hit the sign up for about 45 minutes, and you know, that's just a wrap within today. Yeah, you know, it's the reboot, man, just going back to it. You know, if you stayed to the end, I appreciate you. You know, the channel is growing. You know what I mean? 1 follower at a time, 1 subscriber at a time, you know, that means everything. So my dogs, let's keep getting after it. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. What you took from the video, what you would like to learn more of. Make the change, be the change, maximize your life through fitness, be your desire, my dogs. Let's keep getting after it.